Good evening, everyone. Chris Schultz, Friday Night Victors.com. This is one of our favorite times of the year. It is playoff time, and this is our week one video picks. As always, I am joined by the Friday Night Victor gurus. Let's start with Gary Hoff. Gary, how are you doing?
Good. Been waiting 9 weeks for this day. Maybe
Longer.
you can even go back 8 months before that, right? Since no, or 11 months before that, since the Saturday after Thanksgiving, right? So, yeah, good times, fun times, and we have 8 playoff teams. Is that right? 8 of our 16, which is what we normally get about, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we normally get about 8. So yeah, that's good.
And I see you got an SMCC alumni hat on, and is that a Flat Rock top?
It is.
Yes,
Is it?
sir. Let's go.
Is it a little bit? Is it a little bit dim? Can you see it?
No, I can see it.
I can see it just fine.
It doesn't show up as much as that there,
Oh,
but
that's bright.
yeah, it is pretty bright. So, all right, Gary, good to have you. And then Frank, you are in your office somewhere southeast Michigan, Ohio border.
In Temperance, Michigan, at Bedford High School, because we got basketball business going on tonight, and I had to make sure I joined up with you guys before I tend to that.
Okay, so real quick, since you're on the Bedford payroll, are you picking them to win it all in Division II?
No, because I mean, as cool as that would be, admittedly, hey, I am going to make my picks using football reasons.
Okay, all right. Well, let's dive in right into the picks. Actually, let's thank our sponsors too, right? We got Cakes by Stephanie. We have Bedford Septic and Sewer. We got True Champions recruiting service. And then we have Remax Masters. And we're not going to go with the Remax Masters game of the week because quite frankly, all these games are the game of the week, right? It's playoffs. So let's dive in. I'm going to jump around. Don't let me forget anybody. I know last week I forgot the Huron and Henry Ford game.
Frank, that's your job. Check your notes.
Yeah, check the notes. So
it wasn't my notes, but I think we were just the thing is Chris didn't go in the order I had everything listed in. So I mean that's nothing against you guys. It's just I put stuff in, group it all by conference, but I really never know what order y'all are gonna go in. So maybe I should send my notes to y'all ahead of time.
maybe, yeah, and I have a tendency to jump around. So well, why don't we start with your Bedford Kicking Mules? And I'm hoping I'm right on the records here. I was throwing this stuff together today and got busy. But Bedford 5-4, at Carlson 8-1, Division II. Let's go with you, Frank, right off top. What are you thinking here? And tell us a little. Give us some thoughts.
Well, this is actually the first meeting between both schools since the 1989 season opener. Bedford leads the all-time series 3-1. On Carlson, they are on pace to shatter last year's scoring record of 424 points, only 30 points away from it. And so my guess is they would like to get there this game. Bedford has had a lot of success against the Downriver League. Their last win against the Downriver League team was in the first round against Wyandotte in 2016. Now, I've said to other people, including you guys off air, that Carlson to me is kind of like a bargain version of Saline. I mean, they've got so many different weapons to throw at you. You take one guy away, say you take Isaiah right away. You got to worry about Joe Krolak burning you with his arm and his feet, unless you got guys like Landon Vita as well. I mean, Bedford's got some pieces they can counterpunch with, say maybe I'm drawing blanks here. Somebody like sorry guys, I've had a long day. I'm trying.
Okay, man. Well, yeah,
We've never seen Frank like
this
this before.
You've already provided more info than I'm going to give, so
yeah,
no worries.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing because you look at some of their numbers this season. Bedford hasn't really had any standout individual performances. I mean, they're great. I mean, they're a great team and they're well coached, but unless Jim O'Brien, their defensive coordinator, come up with a masterful game plan like he did against Saline in 2022, I would probably say Carlson wins this game. Hey, I mean, I don't know how much of a blowout it is, but what I do know, the SEC Red is tougher than the Downriver League. But keep in mind that Carlson did beat an SEC Red team last year in the playoffs in Dexter. So my pick is Carlson in this one.
Okay, all right, Gary, how about you? What are you thinking here?
Yeah, the SEC Red is tougher than the Downriver League, but there's really only two really good teams in the SEC Red, and Temperance, Bedford did not do well against those teams. That's Dexter and Saline. They also lost the opener to Canton, and that was Canton's
Bad
only
loss.
win.
Yeah, bad
Bad
loss.
luck. Canton's only win until week 9
Mhm.
against Wayne Memorial. So, yeah, not a great opener. They got better as the year went on. They beat who they were supposed to beat and probably lost who they were supposed to lose to. I just think Carlson's got too much firepower offensively. But Bedford will put up a fight. Again, they're well coached. I'm gonna go with Carlson, but I don't think it's a 45-0 type thing. I think if Bedford can get to 25, 28 points, this could be a ball game.
But you're gonna go with Carlson, right?
I'm going with Carlson, yeah.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna go with Carlson too, and I just I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be close, and I think Carlson wins in the end. I think Carlson has their best team maybe ever, and they're really, really good. And
Did you pick Carlson to beat Orchard Lake St. Mary's and bring the wood?
I got them, yeah, and
I think you
I have
did.
them going to the Final Four. I
That's
do.
crazy talk.
Well, you know what? How many losses does Orchard Lake St. Mary's have?
More than Carlson.
Exactly. Thank you.
But
So,
who played a tougher schedule?
well, yeah, but that's fine. But Bedford played a tougher schedule as well. So, I think Carlson wins this game, but I think they'll have their hands full with Livonia Franklin. I think Livonia Franklin beats Allen Park, and I'll disagree. I think you said, can't remember when you said they met in the Gridiron, but they met in August in the scrimmage. I was at that.
Well, scrimmages don't really count.
I realize that, Frank.
I'm
I was
talking.
being contrary. That's all.
Well, I mean, we do have another matchup later where both teams did meet in a scrimmage, but we'll save that for when we get there.
Okay. All right. So I'm going with Carlson as well. All right. Let's jump to Division 3. This is a big game. Riverview. The Pirates are 8-1 at Trenton. I didn't write this down. I think Trenton's 7-2, I believe. And
6-3.
6-3.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. But somehow they're hosting because they play in the Downriver League, which has a lot of big schools, and you get those bonus points. I think one day we should have a discussion on those bonus points. I think we had that when texting the other day. But anyways, let's throw it to you, Gary. What are you thinking here? Trojans or Pirates?
Yeah, Trenton has 3 losses by a total of, I want to say 5 points. I'm looking at it here.
Is that coaching?
Gary, were you looking at my notes?
No, I was not, Frank.
Because I had the same thing.
I was not looking at your notes. So yeah, they're very close to being 9-0, 8-1, 7-2, whatever you want to call it. Trenton's a good football team. 5 weeks ago, I would have said Riverview wins this by 2 touchdowns, and I'm not even thinking twice about it. You definitely cannot say that any longer. Trenton's for real. Boy, can Riverview go into Trenton and win the football game? That's the question. It's going to be very tough. I'm going to take Riverview, but this is going to be a tough physical football game. And it's one that I think all the downriver folks are going to want to be at.
Okay. All right. Frank, what do you think?
Well, Gary took my one stat from me, but this is a rematch of last year's first round. Trenton leads the all-time series 15-12. Now, Riverview, however, very good defensively, and 156 points allowed how through 9 games is their best since 2019. I mean, these are two coaches, Reggie Glahn, Derek McLaughlin, that I have nothing but the highest level of respect for. Or this is a game that I think could definitely be a street fight, figuratively. Like, it's going to be tough, physical. It could be one where their first one to 25-7 wins. Ends, if you ask, because they're both going to run the football all pretty hard. I will go with Riverview just because of their defense. But I mean, honestly, this one is a coin flip.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I think it's a coin flip game. I think it could go either way. I was at last year's game when those two teams played at Riverview. Thought it was an outstanding game. I thought the better team won. I'm going to go with Riverview as well. And I'm probably going to go something like, 22-20, 28-26, something like that. I think it'll be a barn burner of a game, and I think it'll be very exciting. I think it'll be packed. Those are two teams. I know the Downriver schedule has that weird schedule, but if they could ever sort things out, it would sure be nice to see Trenton and Riverview open with each other.
Week 1.
Yeah, week one. I just think that would be fantastic. The Downriver League, because of the amount of teams they have in there, it doesn't allow for that. They rotate that open week, that one open week they have. But it'd be nice to see those teams play a little bit more often. So my pick, Riverview Pirates. All right, let's go to Division 5. We have Denby 6-3 at Flat Rock 7-2. The Mighty Rams of Flat Rock hosting and expecting a deep run. Frank, why don't you give us some info on these teams and tell us what you're thinking about this game in Division 5.
Well, this is the first meeting between both schools. Denby, it's the first time they've faced a school from the blog area since 2018 when they played Ida and squeaked by them. Denby is pretty good defensively, though. They've only allowed 95 points through 9 games. That's the best since 2019 for the Tars. Flat Rock, on the other hand, and Chris, you pointed this out to me, 10 of Graham Youngie's touchdown passes have not been thrown to a Zalay brother. So that's your fun fact there. I mean, Denby, when I've seen them, they're decent, but I don't think this is one of their more talented. This isn't one of their more talented teams that they had. And I thought that they were probably more talented when they faced Ida a few years back.
They are.
I'll take them. I will take the Mighty Rams in this one. And over under touchdown passes to a not Zalay brother set at 0.5.
Okay. All right. Gary, how about you?
I'm taking the Rams. This is definitely not the Denby team of whatever year that was.
2017, 2018. They
17.
had some really good teams.
Yeah,
Really.
this is nowhere near that team. They were defensive minded back then, and they may still be, but Flat Rock's offense will get it done without a doubt. I don't think nobody comes within 2 touchdowns of Flat Rock until they get to the semifinal. That's my prediction. Taking the Rams over Denby, and I don't know, probably a 45-18 game, something like that.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Rams as well. I'm not going to pick against the alma mater. You guys probably know this, but I'll throw it out there. What's the nickname of Denby?
The Tars.
The Tars. They're on the east side of Detroit. Rough neighborhood over there. Tough kids, but I think the Mighty Rams of Flat Rock win that game. All right, next up, let's go to Division 6. We have I'll say it again, the Mighty Lakers of Advanced Technology Academy, 6-3, coming down from Dearborn all the way down to Ida to face the Blue Streaks, who are 8-1. Gary, we'll let you start with this.
Well, what sucks for you, Chris, is that you got to drive all the way down to Ida, and then after you win that game, the next week you got to drive all the way over to Jackson.
That's
right.
What we're going to deal with it.
And then you got to drive all the way to Constantine, maybe. I mean, that's a long trip. Olivet. You're gonna put some miles on that car. You're gonna be on the bus.
Well, I'll probably ride on the bus, but I don't know how much money I have in my athletic budget to be able to cover the cost of a bus because I got the MHSAA has us shuffling all around the world. And I mentioned it on Bring the Wood. We've got like 7 or 8 schools within a 15-minute drive of us that are Division 6. But that's okay. It is what it is. So
That's right.
yeah.
Well, Chris, you're a bit of an underdog. You're not shying away from it. Bring on the blue streaks is the motto over there in Dearborn Advanced Tech Academy. But I'm going to go with Ida. They are a powerful offensive team, and I don't know if Dearborn can stop them. I think that's the problem. Can they get some stops in order to get that speed on the field offensively? And because that's where obviously the advantage is for Dearborn Advanced Tech. Get the speed out there. Can ATA cause some fumbles, get some 3 and outs? Who knows? But I think Ida in the end is just too strong in the Blue Streaks advance. Without a doubt, when we'll be heading to Jackson the following week.
Did you say without a doubt?
Well, without a doubt, they will be heading to Jackson.
Okay, fair enough. All
Jackson's
right.
Lumen's gonna win, is what
Lumen's gonna win. Okay. All right. Frank, how about you, man? It's your alma mater versus the school. I mean, I founded the football program at ATA, right? So
Yes.
I've got a little bit invested. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chris, you've basically said how you helped build that program from the ground up, and I've said the Lakers are a feel-good story. It's their first playoff appearance in a 9-game season, and of course, last time they made the playoffs during COVID, they got thumped by the Blue Streaks, 56-12. Well, then look, Chris, you
Are you
understand. I
sticking it to
always
me,
want
Frank?
you.
Is that what you're doing? You're sticking it to me, that 56-12?
No, I'm just that's just a fact.
It is. You're right.
And look, admittedly, I've wanted your Lakers to do well and be successful. But thing is, Ida is going for their most wins in a season under Jeff Potter. The most they've won under Potter is 8. That's happened 3 times. And I have some sources, I'm not going to reveal who, said that Ida is coming out extra motivated, so I'm not sure where they got some bulletin board material from. It was not from any one of us, I know that much. But also I know this from watching Ida, they're just on a different planet, so I'll take the Blue Streaks, and then they're going to run into the monolith known as Lumen Christie next week.
Well, Chris, if they listen to Bring the Wood, which will be coming out tonight, they're going to have plenty of ammo.
Well,
Plenty of bulletin board material.
Chris, it was not anything you said. I can confirm that.
Well, here's the thing, right? So you're going with Ida, right? I mean, what more do they need, right? They're really good. I think they came in thinking we can win a state title, or at least get to Ford Field and hopefully see, Jackson Lumen Christie then, right? But the way things have been put together by the MHSAA, it's a little tougher road for us and them. But so here's the thing on our end. I picked Ida, I believe, to win every game this year, but the Hudson game, I believe. And
that was the Whiteford game. You didn't pick them.
I don't know. How would you remember that? Anyways,
because whenever you pick Whiteford, you use the line "heart of a champion," and I remember that distinctly. And I can go back and pull the receipts, Chris.
Okay, you might have to do that. So here's the thing, right? I've been high on Ida all year, but there's no way in hell I'm picking against my own kids. I would never ever do that, right? No chance.
And I can respect that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? First of all, you keep mentioning Dearborn. That's where we're located. Every one of our kids is from the city of Detroit, born and raised. We're Detroit kids. They love football. We have speed, right? We've got some big kids. But Ida's loaded. I get it, and we're gonna have to play extremely well. We're gonna have to force some turnovers. As Gary said, they have a great offense. They have a great defense too. Ida does. So we have our hands full. We're gonna have to do some things on special teams, and hopefully the ball bounces here or there, and we get the win. I know this, in talking to our head coach, he has talked about how much he respects Ida's program. All the film he's watched, they're so well coached. They're very athletic. They're big up front. It's almost, that's the team we strive to become, as a team like them, right? Our program strives to become. And with that said, we're going to play like our football. And I fully expect us to win. And if we don't, that's okay, right? It's been a great season for our school. Anyway, and then one of us will go to Jackson and face Lumen Christi, and hopefully one of us will beat the Titans. Is that what they are? Jackson, Lumen Christi, are they the Titans?
Yes.
So anyways, all right. So my pick is the Advanced Technology Academy Lakers. All right, let's go to Division 7. Blissfield 4-5, SMCC Falcons 9-0. Frank, let's go with you first here.
Well, this will be the 13th all-time meeting between both schools. SMCC leads the series 10-2, and as I mentioned in our rapid reaction, these two teams met 5 times in the playoffs in the 2000s, but the last meeting was 2009. Blissfield, scoring is a problem for them. They've only put up 108 points all season, which is the lowest since they went winless back in 2015. And they only put up 84 that year. The Falcons have allowed 64 points through 9 games. That's the lowest since 2014, and I think we all remember what happened that year. Here, this one, I would say, is a mismatch. I think SMCC wins and wins big.
Okay, Gary, how about you? Your homeboys.
Yeah, Blissfield has a hard time scoring the football. So they have a hard time getting across the goal line. SMCC's defense is not the defense you want to go against when you struggle to score. If they're gonna have to come up with pull some rabbits out of the hat if they want to, put a lot of points on the board against the Falcons, it would seem. So we'll see what Blissfield comes up with. I don't know if they get their quarterback back. I think he might have been under the weather last week, and they were trying quite a few people under center. They actually went kind of a wildcat for a while and with different kids, and then they ran some wing tee. So they're trying some different things. They know putting points on the board is their weakness. So they're trying some stuff. So yeah, they're gonna have to keep doing that. I'm going with the Falcons. Just too good defensively. Offensively, everything is just clicking right now. What they did to Country Day, their only score was a kickoff return, so they shut them out from the line of scrimmage. So yeah, it's just hard to pick against SMCC right now, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going with the Falcons.
Okay, quick question for you, Gary.
Oh.
What's the better unit for the Falcons, the offense or the defense?
Or the special teams.
I would have thought at the beginning of the year, I would have told you defense 100% because I knew the kids were coming back. I knew they're fast, aggressive, physical, 3 levels, good at 3 levels, really no weaknesses. So I'm going to stick with that. But the offense, other than game 1 against Clinton, the offense has gotten better and better just about every week. And, it's a new offense, new plays, new formations and all that. Heck, they went trips 2 or 3 times against Country Day. They had a 1-minute drive, Chris, for 70 yards. Central 1-minute drive to end the half. So they're changing the way they approach things. Coach Kip his mindset's changed. If there's a time on the clock, they're going for it. So I would say defense, but the offense is really coming on.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking defense too. I want to ask you another question, but I don't think you'll answer it. If you had to pick one kid off that defense, who would you take?
Ooh, that is a tough one.
You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. I mean, I get it.
I mean, yeah, that's a tough one. I like pass rushers, so there you go.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to go with SMCC as well. I don't think it'll be close. I think they're rolling. They're rolling. So that takes us to our next game in Division 7. And on the opposite side of the bracket in that district is Whiteford 5-4 at Clinton 6-3. Gary, I'm going to let you lead off. We saw these two teams scrimmage each other back in August. I'll give you my impression real quick. Back in August, and I know things have changed because Whiteford's been rolling. I thought both teams were really, really good when we saw them scrimmage, but I thought Clinton was the better team at that time. But that was, 9, 10 weeks ago. So why don't you lead us off with this pick here?
Right. I remember us talking at that scrimmage, and we came away thinking Clinton looked better. But if you remember, Whiteford had such trouble offensively with the snap. They just could not remember. If you remember that, the snaps were terrible in the
Yeah,
shotgun.
and both teams were vanilla, and Clinton was throwing
Yeah.
the ball all over the place. I
Yeah.
don't know if what was going on there.
I don't know if Whiteford really showed what they could do. Being a scrimmage, and they just had trouble snapping. The shotgun snap was terrible all day, all night. But yeah, we thought Clinton looked better, not by much, but a little bit better. And but we both said, yeah, these teams are good. Um, However, week 10, I'm leaning towards Whiteford. I think they're more versatile, more dynamic offensively. I don't know who they got at quarterback, Eitner, Ruddy, somebody. One of the Whiteford last names that we've heard for the last 10 years. And it doesn't really matter who either of those two. They both could get the job done. So and they might share time. Who knows? I'm going to go with Whiteford. Obviously, if Clinton won the game, nobody would be surprised. I think it's going to be a close contest, but we pick games, and I have to pick somebody, so I'm gonna go with Whiteford, solely on the fact that I think they can throw the ball a little better and spread them out and kind of win that way.
Okay, Frank, how about you?
Well, this will be the 18th all-time meeting between both teams. Clinton leads the series 14-3, first meeting since 2019. Clinton, I mean, for as good as they've been, and this is their first year since 2005 where they have put up less than 200 points through 9 games. So, this isn't the offensive juggernaut that we've seen in years past. Whiteford, all but one opponent they faced has qualified for the playoffs. So, I mean, these are two programs I think highly of. I mean, you saw them at their scrimmages. I've been around both. Whiteford does have Trey Eitner back at quarterback, but don't be shocked if Drew Ruddy gets some reps there for a little change of pace. I am actually going to go with the Bobcats in this one. I think they can go into Wagner Field and steal a victory. Hey, I think it'll be somewhat close, though, but give me the Bobcats to set up a showdown at the friendly confines next week.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Whiteford's going to win, and Clinton's got a good win over Detroit Central. They lost to CC in what was a close game week 1, but that was before I think SMCC figured out exactly what they had, right? I mean, and then they lose to Hudson and Ida. They struggled with Hillsdale. They had an 8-0 victory over Blissfield, I believe it was. I'm going to go with the Bobcats here, and I do think it'll be a close game because I just think that's the way Clinton plays. Most games are close, I suppose, and they're certainly not the powerhouse they've been. They're still an excellent program, but heart of a champion, baby. Let's go with Whiteford Bobcats. So, all right, and we got about 7 minutes remaining. Let's jump into our Division 8 picks. We have 7-2 Manchester at 8-1 Summerfield. Frank, I'm going to lead off with you because you live in Summerfield, right? Isn't that where you live on that way?
Well, I have a Petersburg mailing address, but it's Dundee Township and Ida School District.
Okay, well that's interesting. Okay,
Although Summerfield's high school is only a few miles down the road, so.
okay. So tell us what you think here.
Well, this is the first meeting between both schools. Manchester, they went 7-2 in their first year of running the Full House T with Josh Lindemann at the helm, former Addison coach, which also has my good friend, former Dundee assistant Clay Pelham is there. These two teams actually faced off in a preseason scrimmage, which I reffed, oddly enough. Manchester on the season, they've been pretty solid offensively. They've hit 20 or more points in all but one game, which was last week against Jonesville. I mean, they dropped a 70 burger on East Jackson, which I guess isn't saying much. But I mean, they're very well coached. They play detail-oriented football, and I think running the tee was probably really good for them. Summerfield, they are 1 point shy of school records for points in a season. And so we know what they can do offensively, but this is also their lowest allowed points per game through 9 games since the 2010 season, which Chris, you kind of alluded to that if it's not this team that's the best ever, it was the 2010 team. So we'll probably find out soon enough. I mean, look, as much respect as I have for Manchester and their coaches, I think Summerfield is a much more complete team. I think they win this one, but I don't think they're going to be dropped. They're not going to drop a 50 burger on Manchester, because I think Manchester's going to try and chew up clock and limit possessions. But I think Summerfield will be just fine and win a close one. So give me the Bulldogs.
Okay, Gary, how about you?
Summerfield has a quality win over Whiteford, and their only loss was to a very good Decatur team by 3 points early in the season.
Yeah.
I don't think the Full House T is going to give Summerfield any problems. I just think they're very, very good defensively. They've given up 13 points in the last 4 games. Whitmore Lake, who's also a solid team, playoff team, scored 30 on them. That was the most anybody scored them. I just don't think Summerfield is going to lose to a one-dimensional team. I think they'll figure that T out come somewhere in the second quarter, and it'll be all over for Manchester at that point.
Okay. All right. So both of you going with Summerfield. I'm going with Summerfield as well. I do think Manchester will score. And I think they'll score 3-4 touchdowns, but I think Summerfield will score more than that. Manchester's defense hasn't looked, from what I can tell by scores, particularly great, but their offense has put up points. But I think Summerfield's a real deal. I think they're a really good team, and it'll be interested to see if they can go on some sort of run. If they win this game, they get the winner of Riverview, Gable Richard, and Allen Park Cabrini, which I would bet the house that Gable Richard will win that game over Cabrini. So they win this one, they'll travel down to Riverview to play that game on the Burgundy turf next week. So I'm picking Summerfield, and I'm rooting for Summerfield as well. So. All right, that's our picks. We have a few minutes left. You guys got any idle thoughts? I thought I could throw a curveball out. I was looking at the Division 5, right? And when we look at this thing, everybody's saying Flat Rock gets to the semis. But if Whitmore Lake can win a couple of games, they run the straight T offense. And will the Mighty Rams be ready for that? We know that's kind of been their kryptonite the last couple of years. Just something to think about it on my end. Gary, you got anything on your end you want to throw out there? Just a nugget?
I don't know. We talked so much last night on the podcast. I don't know what to throw out there, but I think there's a few of our teams that can make some really solid runs, and we hope they do. I think Summerfield's one, SMCC, Flat Rock, Riverview. But they, especially Riverview, would have 2 very tough games with Trenton and likely Rouge. And those are 2 games. Well, I'd like to see Riverview play Rouge again. I know you're on record, Chris, saying they're going to win. So
I think they can beat Rouge
see.
this year.
Yeah,
if they can get there, if they can get by Trenton. I think it's beatable.
Yeah.
Frank,
I just hope. My main hope is that everybody enjoys this playoff atmosphere. Does not get overly crazy, with the rhetoric and everything else. Let the refs do their job. They are doing nothing but trying their very best. And
louder for the people in the back.
And we hope that there are no injuries, and may the best team win.
All right. We got less than a minute, Frank. What you got?
Well, it's the time of the year where everybody's 0-0 now, so let's have some fun.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, it's exciting time of the year, and we hope everybody can play their best and they can all be injury free. So that's the end of the show. For Gary and Frank, I'm Chris Schultz. FridayNightVictors.com.